It doesn't stand. It's in the corner.
It's not a-
I'll see you on YouTube.
Are we ready, Mike?
So YouTube is on, all participants are in, there's nobody waiting. The only thing we have to do is find out 288-3153, that might be Wendy.
3153 is. Kathy's calling in.
Oh, Kathy. Kathy, are you 288-3153?
I know she's calling in, so I'm.
288-3153?
Yes, Mike, can you hear me?
Yep,
Kathy Myers?
okay.
Okay, so we can go.
Yep, I have no one else waiting.
All right, so today is Monday, June 8th, 2020, 9 a.m. Administrative Services Committee. Members present, Danielle Allen, Bob Gibler, Jim Horstman, Bill Palin, Judy Truckenbrod. Also online, Kathy Myers, Paula Meyer, Mike McBride. Did Wendy call in yet?
Yep, Wendy's right there.
Wendy's there, I thought. Okay, and nothing from Bob. Charlie Boonstruck is here, Becky Brenner. And Nicholson is not. Danielle, did you get, I'm blank. This Bob Gibler. Hi, Danielle. And Bill Palin's on. Okay, and Jim Whitman. So, anyone that wants to go first, we have our minutes from last month.
I have a
First
question
hand is, okay,
on the minutes. Under new business, where we made the group of 4 resolutions together, strike 3 words at the end of reappointment of Wendy Ryerson as supervisor of assessments, comma, strike out for Wendy Ryerson.
Wait a minute, I didn't start the
It
recording.
doesn't make any sense.
My bad.
okay, wants to do it over.
Yeah, do you care? I'm sorry. Because-
Only people that don't make mistakes and music don't do anything. My mom raised us on idioms, I tell you. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we got a redo. Today is Monday morning, June 8th, 2020. Administrative Services Committee. Present Danielle Allen, Bob Gibler, Jim Horstman, Bill Palin, Judy Truckenbrod. Absent Jim Wetling. Also Kathy Myers, Paula Meyer, Mike McBride, Wendy Ryerson, Charlie Boonster, Becky Brenner. The minutes of the last meeting, Mr. Gibler is saying we need a slight correction, just there's a redundancy there that needs to come
Right.
out
Under new business.
under the new business, under the appointment. So, we trust that Becky
Under
handled
the-
that correctly.
Yeah, the reappointment of Wendy Ryerson, the
So
last
it's
3
just
words for Wendy Ryerson, just.
Yep. Okay. Done? No. Okay, so they'll stand as corrected then? Okay, thank you. Anyone that wants to go first before we do claims? All right, okay, so county clerk, Bill, Danielle asked anything, that's how we were, and then we'll make, since Jim's not been on this the whole time either, we'll make him do the explanation. That's me, sorry. Okay. I'm gonna just let them do the first one and then. So one reads the claims, the other has the total sheet, and then you write the amount and your initials. So these are from the county clerk's office, out of the general fund. Here's my
Ready, Jim? Yes. Okay, Ashton Gazette, $39.99. Quadient leasing for postage machine, $354.99. U.S. Postmaster, for postage, $4,000.
I have that, but I have a question. It looks like they have 2 different line account numbers. One handwritten,
159, 154.
So now she must be splitting it from,
Well,
out of,
Okay.
yeah, because there wasn't enough in one, it's just that coming out of two different line items. Right, Kathy?
Yes.
Yeah.
One is coming out of my voter registration line item, $2,000. The other 2,000 is coming out of my postage. And I'll explain that in my report.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
We have Fiddler. The regular usage, $1,090.38. And then we have SBM for $302.13.
Oh, you did. Sorry. Not bad, sorry. I apologize.
I've already had to do that once this morning too.
My son gets mad at my grandson. We can just do what I say and have.
Total $5,787.49.
$5,787.49. Okay, next up is what, county clerk automation. Okay, I'll give you this. So you just rewrite the amount and then you're gonna call it.
Okay. First one is for Iron Mountain Vault Storage amount $92.70.
Oh, that was only the only claim, sorry. Get the next one ready, sorry, okay, what was it? And that was special report, was that special? Did I do that right?
Total.
Is that what special report is, that what it is?
Yes.
Thank you. And what was this one?
$92.70.
Okay, and then out of vital records, there's one too. Okay, so then this one, you're going to rewrite the amount. and then it's just- Okay, so you read it, this time I had this.
The Lee County birth death certificates,
Okay,
11 for $1,125.47.
And that's a total, $1,125.47.
this is 125.47. Okay, then we go to the treasurer's office. County general.
Hey, Mike,
First one is
Who's
Amboy News for publishing
Wendy.
amount
Wendy.
$39.50. Next one is Creative Printing for tax signs amount $180. Next one is for postage, $17.95. Next is Paper Recovery Service Corp. For supplies amount $60.
I didn't think that.
Am I-
He can switch it on this. Okay, so, but tell him.
Okay, the next line item we had was the Lee County treasurer for supplies for $11.
It could have been mixed up together.
They stuck together. Okay, I'll read that one. Lee County Treasurer for supplies amount $11.54.
Good call.
Thank you.
Zooming back in the order. Samantha Schmidt for mileage amount $76.20. And the last one, Sterling Business Machines for supplies amount of $90.
And then if there are any of those that were charge cards that they have the receipts. I'm sure Paula's, I mean, she's the one that has to keep track of it, so I'm sure she's got them. But, and then you've done the total.
$475.19.
18,
19.
475.
475.19.
Okay. Mr. Palin, are you listening? We're going to do tourism.
Okay, I'm listening, thanks.
Lee County Treasurer, $63.80. And City of Dixon share bill, $2,094.78.
Thank you.
And the county share, $2,094.78.
They're equal.
Yeah, all three?
No.
You did it in a different one. Okay.
I did all three, and the county treasurer,
Okay. I'm used to the other
Debbie.
one.
and then I do,
Okay, what's our total then?
Total $4,253.37.
Excuse me, the reason,
337.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bill.
now the reason for the three figures is that, the county treasurer
Yeah.
gets
Right.
a small amount percentage to process the checks, and then we split the rest between Dixon and the county.
And did you print, I didn't print off the claims for tomorrow.
They were supposed to mail them and I said I'm done. I'll go print them out. You haven't got them?
That's all right. Here,
No, well, you'll have to go through them.
we can go.
Okay.
So that was my bad. I just.
No, that's all.
Oh, because the last time we both did it, and then I mixed them up.
Yeah.
so.
No, I haven't gotten anything yet. They're supposed to come.
Okay, board chairman claims.
Just read off each one.
Right.
CDW government, camera and microphone Zoom meeting, $1,018.
We knew it wasn't cheap.
Is that a monthly charge? The Zoom?
No, that's for this camera,
Oh, okay.
camera and microphone.
Rebecca Brenner, AAA batteries, $15.83.
They asked if you're using your new charge card.
Sikich LLP, $811.25.
That's our HR company.
Sauk Valley Media, $18.20. SBM copier agreement, $79.92.
total, $1,941.20.
1,941.20. Next up will be the assessment claims.
The first one is Leaf for contractual services, $225.53.
Just a note, Bob Sodergroff joining us.
Okay. We haven't done your claims yet, Bob.
Next is Ashton Gazette,
Hello
publishing
to Mike.
amount of $23.85. Next is Sauk Valley Media Publishing, amount $31.85. The last one is U.S. Bank for Supplies, amount $178.23. Let me check the receipt. So Danielle, on the credit card bills, which I guess are all U.S. Bank, we have to check to see that the actual receipts, not just the credit card statement.
Total $459.46.
59.46. And computer services. Not doing as good a job at. who's getting what.
I'm gonna hurt my ear.
You're getting electric.
CDW. For AV software and IT supplies, $13,253.44.
And I've got it broken down into two items.
Yes. I can break that down for you. AV software for $12,960 and Ethernet cable for $293.44. Two different invoices. Right?
Right. And the AV software is for, what is that?
That's antivirus software.
Gorman, yeah. Thank you.
That's the one, it's a 3-year, but you have to pay it up front.
Right.
So it's gone up that much. It was around 5,000
It was about
previously,
4,000.
but this time it includes a lot more. It was just antivirus, and now it covers a lot more.
So.
But anyway, it's one of the things that we will have to adjust the budget on because Mike budgeted based on previous years and then the numbers.
So the total, $13,253.44.
13,253.44. Okay, and then ROE claims. Okay, I just have. You're gonna please.
Yeah, I've got a question on this. You're there, Bob?
He is. He is.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. That's it. We just have packet one.
Hang on, find one packet.
What's that?
That's all.
There was only one packet.
Yeah, one packet for $728.30.
Well,
All right, so I have a question for you, Bob.
okay.
One of your line items is for the IASA dues.
Huh?
You got $461.50, but you also made out a check for $923.
Right. That was because it was split between two counties. Whiteside County does not allow us to pay dues
Okay,
out of our budget.
okay, I thought it
So
was
we
being
have to split it
split
between Lee
somewhere.
and Ogle.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So they just make
And
you
look-
pay it out of your own pocket?
What's that?
They just want you to pay it out of your own pocket?
They think that the state should be able to pay for it. I don't know where they think the state's gonna give us the money to do it, but they don't allow any of their department heads to have professional dues.
Okay, but those associations aren't state.
I know.
Okay,
Yep,
all right,
I agree.
okay. Well, maybe we could save some. It's like
Maybe
looking
then I
at
just won't
I
Did I
was
just
looking at the
go join that
department heads
organization?
that just walked out. Okay. No, they didn't.
So the total is $728.30.
$738.
No, $728.30.
That's the only question I had, Bob.
Let me walk right next door to my bookkeeper and make sure that there's not a mistake that we only have one packet. So hold on a second.
I'll shoot an email.
That's right, yeah,
One packet.
Did she email it to you guys?
yes.
Oh,
But I just didn't print it off because
oh, no, I just wanted to make sure it was just the one packet. I didn't realize she sent it to everybody.
she has been doing
Yeah, real good.
very good about that. Okay, so we still have veterans to go.
Judy, Jim is on, did you know that? Jim Gorman is on.
Oh, hi, Jim. We're just ready to do veterans claims. Good morning.
Yep, I've been listening.
Oh, okay. I guess I need to flip it over the right direction.
He might have done that.
This one's really fun, so. We should make Gibler do this.
Wire.
Well, I don't need it now.
Ready?
This one.
Lee County Transportation Fund amount $273.
Use it. No. The other one I couldn't get. So maybe.
Next is Lee County VAC amount $173.38. Next, Oliver's Corner Market amount $98.66.
I don't like this. Maybe.
Next is Lee County Transportation Fund, $218. Next and last is Lee County VAC, $215.99.
And the total is $979.03.
900, right?
$79.03.
Okay, any questions on any claims? More questions? Entertain a motion.
Yeah, so made.
Mr. Gibler, second by Mr. Horstman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then you sign. We all sign. All right, is there anybody here now that wants to go first? Kathy, you said you have a lengthy report. We gotta do this. Kathy,
Okay, are you ready for me, Judy?
yes.
Okay, all right, I will start with the easy stuff first. I will direct you back to last month's, request for deposit of funds. I just wanted to let the committee know that I had received reimbursement on a couple of items that came in after last month's meeting. So the first one is we did receive the reimbursement, for the election judges. So there was $4,590 that was deposited back into County General for the election judge reimbursement from the March election. And then also concerning that election, there was $315.68 that was deposited back into County General. And this is what I had spent on hand sanitizer for the March primaries. I was able to get reimbursed 100% through my HAVA grant. So that was the reimbursement for the hand sanitizer. So I just wanted the committee know that both of those had come in. My counters in my election department, my vital records and recording have all been measured for glass. So hopefully we'll be hearing back from the second bid and determine which is the best route to go. So they are moving forward on getting that project completed, and hopefully we'll have those in before we are open up to the public again. Then I guess my biggest item is the Senate bill that was passed. Senate Bill 1863 now requires, due to COVID-19, it requires all election authorities to send every voter that has voted in the last 3 elections. So we are talking the 2018 general, the 2019 consolidated, and the 2020 primary. Anybody that's voted in any of those elections, we are required to send them an application to receive a vote by mail ballot by August 1st. So once we send out that notice or that application to the voter, if the voter does not respond to us by September 1st, then the voter is going, or actually it's September 15th, the voter is going to receive a second notice from the Secretary of State's office that they've not yet responded to receive a vote by mail ballot. If you don't respond to that one, the Secretary of State's office is going to send you a second notice on October 15th. So again, the cost to do this is where I needed to request additional postage. I'm going to be looking at mailing out 13,000 of these applications to vote. So my postage cost alone is going to be close to $7,000 just to mail these applications. And then we have certain criteria that we have to meet, that if the voter requests for the application or requests a ballot, then we have a certain time frame that we've got to meet to get those back out in the mail. So on top of allowing the voter the opportunity to vote by mail, I am still required to have all of my precincts open. So basically, this bill has just given us additional costs on our end. Now, the state does have the CARES Act fund, and we will be able to be reimbursed for part of these expenses as far as postage, any additional equipment that we need, because we're counting that we will probably have a higher number of vote by mail ballots requested. And then it will also help cover the part-time help. So it's going to be a huge undertaking for our office. And as far as what our reimbursement will be, that is yet to be determined. The State Board of Election will be letting us know a little later down the road how much we will qualify for. It's all based off of the 2010 census and your number of voters that you have in your county. So again, it's just a huge project, and we've already started gearing up for it as far as ordering our window envelopes. I've needed to order additional vote by mail applications. So I'll keep you updated as things progress, but I might be over budget in my election line item in order to accommodate this new bill. The only good thing in all of this is that for the November election, Anheuser-Busch is donating hand sanitizer to all of the election authorities for their precincts. So that will be one cost that we won't have in November. So does anybody have any questions?
On the, this is Jim Horstman, on the glass estimates, is that the protective?
Yes, Jim.
Is that the protective desk coverings? And
Yeah, this is going to be a permanent glass. It's going to be installed on all of my counters. So it's something that will stay.
And are all the departments pooling in to get a common estimate, or are we going department by department on that?
I don't want to speak for everybody, but I think at this time, I'm the only one in the old courthouse that's doing this?
Yeah, let me jump in on this. That's correct. Kathy's doing it. There's been discussion in the past about securing my office down a little bit more because we do take cash and obviously things through, an amazing amount of people pay cash. I don't know why to pay their taxes, but they do. So, there was discussion about putting a one in ours, but I would like to secure the whole office and I would like to do some rearranging a little bit. It's not a very efficient flow, what we have right now, and I don't want to spend thousands of dollars and put it on top of what we already have. So we are not doing that right now. I would prefer to do something a little bit more appropriate. Just a little more something.
Okay,
Don't know what that something is right now. Don't really have time to figure it out.
all right.
Okay. Well, he Greg's not on. Because Wendy, did your office get measured?
We're having, she's trying to unmute, unmute for some reason.
I believe
How about, are
Wendy's
you doing
office-
anything up here?
No, I said I'm aware of.
Wendy's office is basically the same. She has a shorter counter, but there were gonna be some, she wanted some modifications maybe. So we'll put stuff back there.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
I knew that she had talked, Wendy had talked about it, so.
And
But that, it
I
makes
don't know if I'm
sense.
totally in favor of the look, but it's one of those signs of times. So.
Right.
Hey, Kathy?
Yeah,
On the change in mailing out vote by mail applications, is that a temporary or a permanent thing? I mean, government normally doesn't take away anything.
this is a temporary thing. It is for the November election only. And everything that's in this bill expires in January of 2021.
Thank
So
you.
this is totally a temporary thing just for the November election.
But what I am hearing is that there is a push that everybody goes. Some states do all of their voting by mail, so.
Yeah,
It's,
and
this
that
is set for
push has
this
been
bill, but it
quite a
may
while.
not be the end. of it.
Correct.
Well, thanks. This forward, seems like you get a crisis. It seems like, okay, so the basement floods, and so you need to clean out the water, and then all of a sudden you've got all these other things to do, and I just feel like the county's basement flooded big time here. Anything else? Anything else, Kathy?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so if you are done with me, then I think I'll go ahead and exit the call.
Okay, we know your number if we need you.
Okay, you know where to find me.
That's right. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Paula, you're up.
Okay, so the only thing that I have this year, I guess, right now is, we've been collecting taxes for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, and things are going pretty well. I don't know what the traffic has been compared to last year, but we did open the window on the first floor downstairs. It's actually been pretty well received because it's at a nice height and, people can just come and there's only about 6-inch opening that we're taking, so we're all good. That leads me into, I guess, something that I wanted to bring up today, which is the opening of this building. So right now we're closed through the end of June. Effectively last month, the board extended the due date to July 26th for the first installment of taxes. The taxes bring the most traffic through this building. So I guess I would like to propose that this building, because we have so much traffic due to taxes, and because we've come up with another very workable solution, that people come to the outside and just deal with us through the window, and we do have 2 windows that we can open up if traffic really picks up, that we leave this building closed through the month of July, which is through the whole first installment collection period. I took a straw poll of all of the other department heads, and they seem to be fine with that. They seem to be able to meet the needs of their public through whatever methods they're doing. I think the only person who told me they needed to make a change was Kathy, and she'll probably do this anyway. She needs to start letting her title searchers in. but she's gonna have to do that through appointment. It's only so big back there. She's gonna have to do it by appointment because she can't just have everybody come in whatever time they want and have, 6 people in that back room due to social distancing. They're gonna be too close together. So I guess the other department I didn't really talk to is the board. You are a board, you are a department, if you wanted, so to speak, that uses this building. So I thought you guys may be now starting to look that you want to open back up for your meetings. So I was thinking that maybe during committee week in the mornings or whenever your meetings are, that the building is open at that time in the evening for your regular board meeting. We can kind of make a compromise that when you guys need the building to be open, it's open, and the rest of the time the building is closed through the month of July to reduce those hundreds and hundreds of people that are going to come charging through this building over the next month.
From what I hear, Paula, is that the governor at the end of June is gonna go to the next phase.
Yeah,
That next phase then will open up governmental buildings,
that doesn't mean you have to,
post
does it?
offices, city governments, county governments. state
Does that
government.
mean that you necessarily have to if we're meeting the needs?
I think on a county by county basis, you can determine what is
Right.
best suited for you.
Right?
Um,
I don't really want hundreds of people coming through this building. I don't want to wear a mask all day to deal with those people. I can deal with them through this window. And I know we were going to hang the plastic, but I don't want to breathe this all day long because we have hundreds of people tromping through this building. So I guess my question is what is it? What are we hurting? Who are we hurting if we don't open up, provided that we're open up for your meetings?
well, it's not only our meetings, it's people that would come to file papers with the clerk's office.
Right, but they're meeting the needs of those people now with the methods that they have set up. So do they really need to come in the building when they're working this out through mail, email, phone calls, et cetera?
Probably not. Probably not.
Hey, guys, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I was having some technical difficulties. I could hear you, but you couldn't hear me. This is Wendy. And hey, I just wanted to reiterate, Paula did come to my office and we did discuss it here. And we also have been very successful, I think, at being able to conduct business via telephone, via email, via US mail. And I agreed with her that once we effectively pushed that due date back to July 26th, it makes sense to me that, from July 1st to July 26th, we could actually see our largest number of taxpayers trying to come and pay taxes. And in terms of my staff and myself, we would be much more comfortable if we left that through at least that July 26th date. And July 31st is a Friday, so that kind of makes sense to us. Looking for another department's opinion. Again, we're not getting complaints from people. We've changed our processes to make this year up to this date, flexible and allow the public to do what they need to do without them coming to the building. So just adding my 2 cents worth.
So I agree, Bob, that if we were not serving the public, we would need to open the doors. But I believe that we are.
Yeah.
From my conversations with other departments.
And I know from the other things that Kathy has said, she would also like.
So this building is a little bit different than the other building.
We did believe her.
Right, when other
We did
building
believe
people
her.
are coming in, and they've never really closed. I mean, they've got people at the door dealing with all of that. We don't have somebody to deal with all of that at the door. I don't know how we would even accomplish
Well, I
what
know.
they're doing across the
I
street.
have no problem with Charlie. Would we be in conflict with the state if the state says at the end of June, everything's gonna open up to phase 4?
Not really. What I would defer to is that you want to make sure that the sheriff is on board because he has the custody of both courthouses and the buildings, but also I don't know at what point then, are we good with opening up in August then? Or what are you looking at? I don't want us to get into a bind where it's just never going to open up.
Yeah, that would be my only stipulation is that would we be in conflict with the state? Is there a problem with that? And if county governments have a prerogative of dictating when they're gonna open up, when they're not gonna open up, then I have no problem with that.
Okay, Danielle, you're in, your banks, they're opening up now. Have they said much of, they, of course, they probably have
Well, I don't work in a.
I know, but I mean,
Yeah,
I
the
just thought
banks
you
are
would
opening
feedback.
glass, they're opening up, they're doing the social distancing. You know,
But I mean, does this make sense to you?
It does, and I think I understand where you're coming from, I think the only concern I would have as a citizen, at some point, you'd say, why can I not enter a county building anymore? Like, what is the reasoning behind it? And what answer would we have? I mean,
What they're doing now is making appointments.
no, I know, but come, like you said, the next phase, as a citizen, would you be able to say, why is the county buildings not opening? What is your reasoning behind not opening?
Yeah.
That would be the only question I would have.
And I guess, I mean, my reasoning is the building isn't that big and hundreds of people tromping through here is not.
But then everybody can say that, I guess is what my point is.
Yeah, they
Like,
can.
you know, from citizens, I would look at it as we're moving into the next phase or we're not moving into the next phase.
But I guess-
and-
I'm back to, I'm serving their needs. Why do they physically need to come in the
So we
building?
could say that forever, right?
Yeah, we probably could.
So at what point do we finally say,
Right.
you need to open?
Right.
Or you don't?
I think
I think
the word is back, that I'm getting almost tired of hearing is vaccine. But
Right,
the
right.
key is the delayed first installment due date effectively. If installment due date had really been June 26th, you know, I think we'd all have a higher degree of comfort that, you know, we could open doors but the fact that that due date has effectively been delayed, our concern is, and maybe it's, you know, not warranted, but right now we just don't know. Will that open the floodgates? For those of you who are not here that week, the week right before the due date or the couple of weeks leading up to it, the building gets quite busy and it becomes more difficult to do the social distancing.
Okay.
I will see at the office, even though we're not collecting the tax, we see a huge influx of people, and sometimes it's just they happen to be in the building, so they want to stop by and either say hi or say, what's the status of my homestead exemption? So in other words, sometimes it's not even necessary, but because they're here anyway, they stop by. So I think it's that influx the last couple of weeks before the due date that to me, you know, causes me to say, yeah, maybe this is a good plan. After that, we're through that first installment due date and things settle down. Traditionally, they've always settled down after that.
Okay, so I think that we can entertain a motion to move this to executive. And then the question, I think it would need to be addressed again when the second installment is due. So then it will become, is it going to be open for a month through August? But then you've got your second installment due. So we're almost really talking about the middle of September. Because I know a lot of them come in that week after the due date. They
They do.
came in late, but I
They do.
know that we have a lot that pay,
We were actually very busy in September last year.
yeah, that extra week. So I really am not even sure, you know, if we're doing this, I don't really see the point of making it the end of July. It almost needs to go to the end of September.
Then you have
Well-
election cycle coming up too.
Yeah,
And
the
we have
election
elections,
cycle is
and so we do have
force
to
us to-
address that. I
So
mean,
that's
we
what I
are
guess
gonna
that's the
have
point. I
to,
mean, it's public property. They have a right to be here. At what point are we trampling on people's rights to be on public property? Not necessarily to be in the offices, but they have a right to be in the building.
Guys, specifically what's different for me is that it's the first installment that brings out everybody that thinks their tax bill is incorrect. And so for me, the people coming in is significantly larger prior to the first installment due date. By second installment, these guys have gotten the kinks worked out or they've had their questions answered, and it just tends to be a lot quieter. And again, this is selfishly, specifically for my department, what I notice in terms of traffic.
all right, so,
Bill Phelan has a question for Wendy.
Yeah.
Have you seen a large increase of people that have paid their taxes by way of their bank?
Actually, I'm going to throw that to Paula, and I'm not sure Paula has enough statistics yet to answer it. I have that, Paula.
No, not significant increase. now.
But people do it.
Yeah, people do it. I don't know that it's higher than it was last year.
Okay, well, it's a very convenient way to pay it. Thank you.
You're only in 2 weeks.
We're only in 2 weeks.
Although Wendy had said there's a lot more traffic going by.
Yeah. I mean, we have a fair number of people that are walking up to our window. So, you know, and I mean, Mike helped and we took the time to move everything over there. And, you know, so we're gonna have to move it all back if we open the building, which can be done.
I think the July 26th date, a lot of people are really not aware of it. Even though it was in the paper, a lot
That
of
could
people don't read the paper, they don't know what's going on.
But if they're used to paying it too in their budget,
They're
they're
used to
just
paying
gonna
it,
do it,
right.
so that'll
Yeah.
help, that'll be good. Right, so do we have a motion to?
It's not on the
Let's
agenda.
say yes.
Okay, for what are
It's
you?
not on the agenda.
Well,
Right, I just
Okay.
brought this up as a discussion, so you can't add it to the
I
agenda.
think the executive committee needs to discuss this on a month-to-month basis.
I agree, okay,
So
so put it on,
Let,
so it'll be a,
let executive make the decision based on department heads' input.
okay, so then,
I'm sorry, I
ours
didn't
will be
mean
a
for-
recommendation.
Yeah, it was just like a discussion item I thought I'd bring up under my topic.
Because I know right now, we are closed till the end of June.
Yeah.
We've already decided.
And again, I think you need to make sure you have the sheriff involved in it because he has to carry custody of the courthouse.
Okay.
So is it a recommendation then to put the topic on agendas?
Are we, the rest of you guys okay with it?
I'll contact Sheriff.
Right.
Since it's my office that's most affected by
But
this.
thanks for that
One way or
input.
the other.
Yeah, I think that's a good. All right, anything else?
Nope, that was it, really.
All righty, Mr. Sondergroth?
I think you will.
Okay, no, I didn't leave. I had to unmute.
I didn't get a report from him.
Okay, have you got me?
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize for getting on late. I couldn't find the login information, and this is my first day back in the office for quite a while. I've been in and out. We're not opening the office. We're having the office, people that are able to come in and work in the office if they want to with following social distancing, wearing masks when needed, not congregating in areas. We have about half of our staff that are doing that. We're getting in and out. We're deciding whether or not July 6th we're gonna open or if we're gonna wait till August because we do get a lot of traffic. But we're handling it pretty well from home right now. So I sent you our June committee report, but I didn't send it until this morning. It's just not, when I don't have Michelle right across the hall from me reminding me I need to do stuff, I forget. So we've been working with all of our school districts and our 3 county health administrators to provide graduation ceremonies of some sort for our students. And that has gone very well. All of the
It's okay, Becky, we don't need it.
most of the high schools have submitted a plan to us and we run it by the county committee, the county health department, and they've approved it. So it's gone fairly well. Professional development is going fantastic. We've had 630 participants in May. Our professional development department has really stepped up with their remote learning and are doing a fantastic job of keeping our people informed and our administrators. And so you'll see a list of that and what we did and all the sessions that we did. Our regional center for change, we did have the graduates that were all seniors that needed to graduate, did graduate. And we've combined our 2 campuses this year. It's going very well. I think you'll see in there that we really have got, we had 10 students graduate successfully, and from Amboy, Sterling, Stillman Valley, Dixon, 6 students graduate from 8th grade, from Reagan Middle School, Challen, Rock Falls Middle School, and this is a cool one. With the support of the local Rotary clubs, we are purchasing 68 Chromebooks for this fall. It's a grant that 4 Rotary clubs went together and wrote, And they're going to get us about $14,000 to buy new Chromebooks for our staff and our students. Well, at least our students, we have computers for our staff. We started with 42 students. We now have 68 at the end of the year. So it's going very well. Let's see. Our truancy team is kind of changing from a truancy department to an at-risk team where they're helping with remote learning. They're going out to see if a student has not been on many of the remote learning cases for 3 or 4 days. Then they kind of try to contact the parents to find out what's going on, see if they have an issue with the internet, see if they don't have a device, and try to solve those problems. So we're converting that more to a remote learning team than a truancy team. Education outreach program is doing very well, but they're, again, working remotely, but they're still doing GED instruction remotely. And I think Pearson is opening up this week for testing centers so we can get some kids tested. So that's all I've got. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's see. Since Mike's here and it's going to be here, Jim, did you want to do your report?
He's muted.
He's trying to.
There you go.
Okay, nothing really new except, transportation is still not up. I got an email last, Thursday from the transportation director in Iowa City saying that, still no definite date. That the priority is, first of all, is the safety of all of our volunteers and veterans coming to the hospitals. Iowa City is one of the hospitals that is not fully opened up. They're still only seeing emergency cases and weekly treatments for cancer, dialysis, and cardiology, things of those things. I've been in the office, back in the office since last Monday. Had quite a bit of traffic and phone calls, pretty much scheduling things for the July and August for as far as rides to clinics and hospitals. I'd like to give a shout out to Mike McBride and Zach Owens. How hard they're working on my new laptop and getting things straightened out. That seems like it's up and running. So that's pretty much all I've got.
So I'm surprised the food bills haven't been higher.
That's amazed me also, that and rent, but while we were down, I was checking messages all the time and making arrangements for anybody that wanted them.
Well, that's
Yeah, I thought that would go sky high. But,
it's not bad. I just was a surprise.
yeah, exactly.
All right, any questions for Jim? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy?
Good morning again, everybody. As I said earlier, we kind of, had to modify day-to-day business practices to be able to conduct business via phone, mail, and email, and we've done a lot of that. Sent out some additional mailing to notify and inform the various homestead exemption individuals that need to apply of the new processes and changes. It seems to be going fairly well. Quite honestly, I'm surprised at how well it's going, but everybody seems to be adapting to that, including staff is adapting to that process. We are continuing on in that we have township officials or our contracted field representatives that are out doing property inspections. That's been a little touch and go. As I told those individuals, when you're out there, you need to be super sensitive to people's feelings and you need to wear your mask and social distance. It can be a little difficult when you're out on their property trying to get some information, but I think they're all working hard to achieve that. In some cases, we have modified our practices there also, in that if we have some estimated information, we're going to go forward with estimated information for this year and perhaps follow up next year and just confirm property inspections that are on the list to do this year. So that's a bit challenging in these times. But again, we're finding ways to modify our practices, and hopefully the taxpayers are feeling confident and comfortable that they're still getting the same service, albeit in a different manner. Other than that, I don't think I have anything unless you have any questions for me.
Anyone? Okay, thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, Mike?
Just with the COVID stuff, still doing a lot of Zoom meetings and the YouTubes. Dee has started her zoning meetings. So those are basically Thursday, we started our first one, and there'll be meetings tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and then next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All of them are going to be Zoomed, YouTubed, and we have to set up a satellite viewing area for people that come in and need to view it. So it's a work in progress. We, like I said, had our first one on Thursday. Seemed to went pretty well, but probably expect more people maybe coming in. But that is open to the public with Zoom and stuff. So the person that's running the Zoom meetings is if there's a lot of people, it's going to have a lot of things to do. But with that, and then the invoice that you saw for the antivirus program, that has been obviously purchased, and we started the install process last week. Unfortunately, it's still a work in progress. We have about approximately 180 devices to install on, and I think we've got 15 done. So we've had some issues in the courtrooms last week. Obviously, the courtrooms are now open. So there's been a dramatic increase in conferencing, either jail, DOC, or Zoom. So there's 3 different options that the court systems are now utilizing. And unfortunately, the first line of defense is, or not unfortunately, but the bailiffs and whatnot are trying to help out a little bit as they can, but obviously not computer literate. So we have to make sure that they're being able to connect and stuff. So we had a setback last week, not on our end, but on the devices. We think we found a solution, but still have to pursue some. I just got an email today, pursue some things so that the courtrooms can dial the DOCs appropriately. There's some issues going on there. So I think we have a fix.
Anything?
Not that.
Okay, so when this fall, September, when you have that big project over at the ETSB, right, isn't that when that's supposed to be?
Whenever they decide to start it.
Okay.
Kind of waiting.
But is that, Shelley made it sound like that's really going to take a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
So is that going to be you both? Are we going to need somebody else in there? Can we contract any of that?
We'll have myself mainly, and Zach will have to be part of it, some of it as well, just so he's the backup.
Okay, but then what about all the other stuff that's still going on? What's that going to do to that?
Same as
Is there
it's doing now.
Is there any way to?
I've talked to Tom, and he's willing to kind of do some minor IT stuff as far as installing computer or the antivirus software, stuff like that.
All right. Well, he's involved with some of the things over there too. Would he be a good one on that?
With what?
With ETSB, with the layers, and that he works with them.
Yeah, at some point he'll be involved. Not the IT stuff, but there will be GIS stuff that he'll be on a different portion of it with the mapping and whatnot. So he'll be in that process, but not at the very beginning.
I've been trying to get Gibby to volunteer over He's not funny. You didn't see his eyes roll, but I did. Okay, so, all right, well, that concerns me, because if it's that big a project, I don't know what's being happened with that. I mean, that's just gonna throw everything else further behind, and with all this extra stuff that we've had with COVID-19, I am very,
Hopefully,
I won't go to worried yet, but I'm very
hopefully
concerned.
next month we can get rid of some of the meetings.
Sounds good. All right, well,
Judy,
hope is good.
I just have a couple things I wanted to say. That we have started initially, I wanted to talk to you later about potentially getting an intern that could help do some of the minor work for Mike. I want to get back to you on that.
All right, 'cause
We
I mean,
attempted it at first, and we couldn't get the person didn't qualify to work as a consultant, so it would have been hired as an employee and all that.
Right.
And also,
Well, if they can go this time, I mean, that we talked the intern thing, but it was such a short time, so by the time Mike told them what he needed, their semester was up or whatever, so.
but I would like to thank Mike, because he has been
Oh,
doing all these Zoom meetings.
Right.
And I mean, this is just one of about 8 or 9 he has to work with. The second one today,
Yeah.
and so it takes his time.
I totally agree, and then all this other stuff, so, yeah, that's where I am.
They have 9 this week.
I don't know why you're laughing. So
Trying to cheer
anything else,
himself up.
He's still, is Tom here, or is he still?
No, he's here.
Okay. Anything else there?
He's been, just an FYI, with COVID, there are maps and stuff that he's been working on for the COVID. Working with Kevin, and there's a map out there for, it's on our website for COVID, things like that.
Okay. All right, all right, county board,
Well, as we're functioning well with the doors closed, he kind of prefers it that way. She's worked with either by telephone or by appointment. I think Becky prefers that also. Well, people just wandering upstairs. Doesn't affect me too much. We did have a press release regarding how the county is coping with the shutdown of the buildings and some of the half staff or partial staff functions. And the Ashton paper and the Amber paper has it on the front page. Dixon paper hasn't seen fit to put it in yet, but I've seen,
We aren't working at half, nobody's working at half staff anymore.
not now, but
Yeah.
they would.
Yeah.
But there's been things modified to get things done, but everything seems to be functioning fine. And to carry that comment on as far as staying shut through the end of July, I think right from the beginning, we deferred to the department heads and their feelings on allowing extra people into the building. I think that's going to be a big part of the conversation with executive. And, I prefer to see what they're comfortable with. I think Kathy Myers has some comfort level that until that plastic's installed, I think she would like to see it. stay.
Well, she must have been worried too about the motors.
So we do have I believe it's a September 24th or 27th drop dead date. That's when absentee voting starts. So we're gonna have to make modifications for that. And that will come up sooner than before. So, the plastic, everything's been measured, and what we'll do as far as the modifications of those counters, that is yet to be seen. I think Greg has gone in and done some of that already.
No, just, you can't spray the screens of the voting machines, and there's just limited things that you can do. Almost like you need a piece of saran wrap, a roll of saran wrap on there that you can pull across, tear it off each time. I don't know.
Well, hopefully by the time they really get into full swing, some of this will be.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Because otherwise we can go to our, just So, Paula has just FYI that she sent out the resolutions, for the transfers with, that's really, that'll be under finance, but just an FYI that she did send it.
Yeah, and I've got it under new business. I was just gonna
Oh,
talk
okay,
about it a little bit.
okay, yeah, I usually just do it before, okay. I know it's been
Oh,
bad
I'm
job.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, it was down there,
It
so.
is, okay, so do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, are we down there yet? Okay,
Well, I'll just come back and put the board rules at the end. That's what I
Okay.
was going to do. So, go ahead.
Okay. So I sent an email, well, I sent one a while ago to you. I sent an email this morning to all department heads because I went to highway at 7 and they thought it would be a good idea if I sent it to all department heads and board members. So we needed to rewrite this policy because we've had a change in personnel. A lot of the old policy referred to Teresa making approval decisions, or I should say the administrator, and we don't have an administrator right now. And I've had some people requests to do some budget adjustments. An example is the highway department got a chunk of money from Green River Wind to make road repairs. So it kind of falls under number 4 on this resolution, expenditures covered by unanticipated revenues. So we'll actually kick up their revenues and then kick up their expense so that because they've got road work planned to do this summer. So that's the first one that I had, and I hadn't gotten around to rewriting this. Bobby actually asked me to do it several months ago, and I hadn't gotten around to it. So I've rewritten this a little bit to accommodate who needs to approve. A lot of this is very similar to the policy that you had before, as far as the contingency funding and how that gets allocated out, because we have a line item that has contingency in it, and that gets allocated out. So that isn't changing from the existing policy. What is going to change is who needs to approve what at what level. And so Charlie came to me this morning and pointed out a couple of things that are going to need to change. So the example that you have out there is actually going to need to be tweaked a little bit now. So, but the net of it is for transfers up to $25,000, it just needs from the contingency fund. Those will go to the finance department. Anything over 25,000 coming from contingency needs a 2/3 vote of the board. Anything that deals with personnel or rearranging the capital budget needs 2/3 of the board. So that will go to the board. And then any expenditures like this one for the highway where they've gotten an unanticipated revenue, they've got this new revenue source and the expenses that go with it, those will go to the finance meeting. Anything that's intra-departmental, so for example, my department, and I want to, for whatever reason, I've got extra postage and I need to buy some sort of supplies, new check copies or something, then I can make any changes within my budget, not personnel or capital related. Any changes within my budget, I can rearrange to whatever degree. The sample that I sent out has that I can only make changes up to 20% of my budget. But what Charlie pointed out to me today is the statute doesn't limit me that way. And I think we could get into trouble if we try to limit the department heads for anything non-personnel or capital related. So I'm going to change those number 5 and 6 a little bit, and it's just going to be anything intra-departmental, non-personnel related, non-capital related is up. The only approval needed is the department head itself. And I also then included a couple of forms. So I did kind of a pro forma of the resolution that would need to go to the board for the 2/3. So there's a sample of that in there. And then there's just the request that would really be used internally by my office, which would have all the approvals at the bottom so that we could, so I know that it's been through the process before we actually make the change in the system. So
Where did you come up with a 2/3 vote approval?
That's state.
that's
That's state law.
statutory, yeah. So, you know.
So then you'll have to change that on this.
Yeah, so my
4, 6,
sample, so I'll fix that this afternoon and resend it out to everybody with the changes that Charlie brought to my attention. And the intra versus inter that Jim
Thanks.
pointed out.
Okay,
Like,
thank you, sir.
So is the intent for, say, number one, transfers up to and including $25,000?
Mhm.
Is that cumulative, or might you have several $24,000 transfers during the year?
I guess I was thinking that would be each one. So it wouldn't be
Okay,
cumulative.
so
So,
at one
yeah,
point, we
Okay.
had, our contingency line in our budget used to be for the whole county general.
it still is.
But then we put some contingency line items in some of the department budgets at one point, just because they thought there'd be some flush.
No,
Okay, we did it for Kathy when, on that Dixon election. Or did we
oh,
just add that
it
extra?
may have been just that year, but she doesn't have a contingency line
Okay.
item, not that I.
Right,
and
I
I
don't
think
remember
so.
it either,
I think there's just the one contingency line item,
but.
which is the board's
Right,
to divvy out how they choose, which, this is the process that would then come to you guys to divvy up. So just so that not everything has to go to the full board and it gets,
Right.
cumbersome, I chose that, and we can change that, I chose that 25,000, well, and actually that was in the old policy, up to 25,000, the finance committee could do without bringing it to the full board, just for, ease. But it would be any change necessary. So anything under 25,000 is gonna go to the finance. So if I come to the table 6 times throughout the year, each time for 2,000, it's only gonna go to the finance committee, each time. Generally, we try to postpone most of this till the end of the year and do it all at the same time. Because, for example, if I decide that I'm gonna be kind of a stinker and I'm gonna go to the contingency and I'm gonna go do it at the beginning of the year, I might use up all the contingency and there may be other departments that need to use that contingency also. So we tend to push it towards it, well, I've only been here a year and a half, so last year we pushed almost all of it to the end of the year and said, okay, which departments, do you need to make some, anyway, so it was kind of handled like in September, October, towards the end of the fiscal year, which ends November 30th.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the ultimate purpose of this, but it just strikes me with the $25,000 threshold and the 20% also,
Mhm.
that those would be fairly easy to evade by just coming in with requests for $24,000 or 19%.
Well, so the
It still has to
contingency
go.
still has to go to the board, it's just only gonna go to the finance committee. But I mean, if you want all of them to go to the full board, they can go to the full board, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, no, I'm just
But
trying
yeah,
to figure out what the
somebody
purpose
could, but if we kind of postpone them and do them all at the end of the year, then they're all going to get done at the same time and you aren't gonna see as much of that because it's been pushed to the end of the year. But the whole purpose of having this policy is, the statute doesn't allow you to change
the budget.
the bottom line of the budget. So, our budget came to zero last year. If I recall correctly. Pretty close anyway. So you can't just come in and say, okay, you know what? The sheriff's department needs another $50,000 because as it turns out, they still have to transport. So we're now gonna have our budget go 50,000 in the hole. You can't do that. The statute is very limited on how you could do that, but people do need to do it. So I need a policy to work from when I have to make budget adjustments. So we had one that was put into place about 3 or 4 years ago. It became a moot point when or at least to this date, we haven't rehired an administrator because the administrator made a lot of the decisions and we don't have an administrator to make those decisions. So we needed to, because I had people coming to me, specifically this highway one, and I didn't have a policy to really implement it. So, but we need to have something in place if somebody needs to make a budget adjustment or a budget amendment. So that's what this is doing.
Okay, thank you.
And a good case of that, Jim, is Kathy's gonna need $7,000 to mail out ballots. Right.
Right,
That's not in her budget, so the money's gotta come from somewhere.
right. So she's probably gonna wanna tap into the contingency
So I
fund.
should probably be the
To do
first
that.
one to implement this.
Okay. Now, you've been quiet. It's good.
Learning.
I hear you. Okay, thank you very much. So those were, is there anything else, and then we can talk about our board rules? Did, oh, and then you did, also, since you were there, she did, Paula did send out her budget prep calendar.
Oh, yes.
To everybody, so when the hearings are going to be with department heads, the budget hearings, and when we would be seeing.
I had some department heads asking me when we were gonna kick off that process, so I did that out there. Sorry.
No, that's fine, I'm just going through my own file here.
So, I don't have that calendar in front of me, but
Do you want it?
I think I've got it going out to the department heads. Yeah, so just to do a little quick. It's going out to the department heads at the end of this month, and they need to have it back to me to compile by the third week of July. And then we start, the finance committee will meet with, they like to meet individually with department heads. So that will be the first 3 weeks of August. And then the fourth week of August, we'll be doing the official budget hearings in here. The budget needs to be finalized and put on file in October. At the October board meeting, we put the budget on file, and then it's approved at the November meeting, effective the 1st of July, the 1st of December. So basically, we're gonna be doing all the work in the month of August, as far as the board is concerned.
So we need to make copies of this, or who's gonna get prices?
I'll send it out to the full board. I don't know that I sent it to the
You
full
want it in
board,
the
but I will.
The agenda packet?
Would that work, if it was just in the agenda packet?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
Thank you. Mike, I'm going down here, did you want to talk anything at all about sending of the phone systems, Mike? Just, that people have been in here, walked through, had some, just, that it's being looked at and considered and so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's different phases of it, so, Physic was in here last week to discuss, fiber connections and whatnot between the buildings. So I think Dave's still accumulating costs and things like that, right, John?
Correct.
Yeah, so,
This is one of those things, this is what affects all the departments, Mike reports to our office, but this is really a properties leadership on this, so.
We'll have some inside properties tomorrow, hopefully some of the bids will be back. Some of the bids were updating the,
But were these,
phones,
but I don't know, didn't know it went out for bids, it just was proposals, isn't it?
proposals, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, these are bids by Physic. We're going to try to go with a sole source because that's who put in the jail and some of the other phones. So they have given us a bid to put in phones, voice over IP, and update some of the computer.
What about a timeline?
that has to be.
That's to be determined, but it will be covered in properties tomorrow. It's already on the agenda for tomorrow. Dave has been very diligent in getting bids, meeting with Physic. We did go over and water through the falls to fix the PD, find out how the fiber optic was all routed between 911, the city, main courthouse, and how it will be sent over to this courthouse.
Lot with money, it might probably be in phases. I would assume, we don't know that yet, so. It's not going to be cheap.
Discussion will be tomorrow.
Okay, just I'm touching on that, so there is some follow-up being worked on that. All right, next. So our, okay, so you guys, I haven't asked, what does the committee want to do? You do not have this, I just found out you were in the committee, so Jim can put together some reasons favoring the reduction of board members and some reasons opposing it. This is a draft, it's not gone out, people are asking about it, the vote does not get taken until next spring. So I don't know how, I know if it's committee, it's public, but to me, putting this out there right now, then does that just stir up something that we're not ready to do? I don't know, so it's up to the committee.
Well, I had just seen that it had been mentioned monthly.
I know, and I don't
Provide
know
some-
why it's on the agenda, but it's, I mean, I've never asked an executive to take it off, which I should do, but people seem to want to hear it. I think people thought we could do something about it this year. I mean, you can talk about it, but that's not a bad thing. So I appreciate what you did. You know, we had talked about different things just casually here, but to put it in writing, so this is just, you know, there might be other reasons that other people would think of.
Yeah.
Um,
Good.
but so at some point,
Let you get out there, sometimes it's better off, get people thinking,
well,
I'm doing
I-
more too.
I guess part of me was just holding back, just like on the board rules, when all this COVID stuff came up and everything was all up in the air, to put something out there that we don't really need to deal with at this time. It just seemed like,
Spring.
it almost seemed like a planned distraction. I don't, not really, but it just seemed like we were trying to deal with essential things.
Census will be compiled in 2021, 2022 before we have to really vote on it.
No.
Do anything?
They have to file at the end of 21. It needs to be voted on next spring because it has to be done before,
What we're going to do.
so that you know how many positions are open.
Oh, I thought Kathy said it was 2020.
Pretty sure it's 2022.
I thought that's what she had said.
When
I'll
it
find
takes
out for
effect?
sure.
Isn't that when it would take effect?
I thought she said we couldn't do anything until 2020.
That's why
I'll
everybody's
double
running.
All right, well, all right. I know that we can, that I know this, the board that's seated at this time cannot. If we voted on it, it would be a mute. It would not. It'd be, legal, whatever. So, but it's just up for discussion. So, okay, so,
Ask a question.
sure.
So right now, this is unrelated to, and you probably, but, so right now, the board members are paid whatever X amount per meeting.
60.
Is it statutorily set up that way? Or would it make more sense if you, I know, the discussion of shrinking the size of the board.
It doesn't say anything.
Would it make more sense to give a stipend amount like like you make like the city council over there, they make, I don't know, 5,000 a year or 9,000, or depending on, the mayor made more and the other one, because he was there and
Some
involved.
counties do it that way.
Oh, so there's nothing that says you can't do it that
Right.
way. Oh,
But they don't like it if people collect the money and not here.
true. Okay, fair.
You know, we've had that issue.
Yeah.
That's come up.
I just thought that perhaps it would work the other way in that if you only get paid when you come for a meeting, specifically like a meeting, but if you are very involved with trying to come up with a new plan, say for health insurance or something, and so, you're doing a lot of it, you might be spending a lot of time.
Oh, that has happened. Oh,
Right, I would think
that's
it
been-
would.
That's been an issue here for years.
Right, I
And
would
we
think
don't-
it
you know,
would.
But then it's
So-
really more of a volunteer job.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I just,
You know, I mean, that's been talked about, but not every board member
it's
is
gonna,
going to do that.
true.
And so unless it's set up as a special committee by whoever is the chairman and says, then you have meetings set and do that.
Because I guess I would think
No.
as a board member, I would feel better if I was really gonna invest myself in a certain topic and try to take a leadership role on it, that maybe I have some of my time compensated, but.
Oh,
Never mind, I didn't say
that,
anything.
that did not go well when
Okay,
people tried to collect money for that. That is not,
okay,
that is not.
all right. And changing the compensation probably would have other negative effects, so, yeah, okay.
You know, I get,
Mhm.
and some people would like that, then they know what they're doing and giving out, but people that $60 isn't quite gonna compensate if they have to take time off from
Sure,
their real job.
right. I got it.
So. We can talk. All right, so you should have a copy of the board rules, this is yours.
Okay.
Okay. visually significant.
Yep.
Okay, so your board rules are in there
Very front cover,
under one of the,
very front cover.
under board rules.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's the same as.
Oh, I have
it's
one
in
of
the
them.
same-
Yeah,
it's there- it's in both places.
Yes, okay.
All right, so we have been going through and just trying to update and doing a few of the things. So we've got some, most of these are minor corrections and clarification of words, and changing a couple of things that, there was a group that used to report here that doesn't anymore, and it's still in the document. So, the COVID, we've always said that you had to be present at the meeting. That was pretty much even state statute. They, state only limited, gave certain excuses, reasons that you could participate, like by phone or video. And then with COVID, they temporarily suspended that.
And now they changed it that for a committee meeting, you only need one member.
Correct.
You only need one member present, so the rest of us don't even need to be here.
Well, the problem you have with that though is just
The
claims.
problem with
Right.
that I see as far as ours, how are you gonna do claims?
Right, and that's what he just said.
There's been several meetings over the course of the last couple of months where it was just like the chairman and myself and we cover claims and then the votes come off Zoom to approve.
Yeah, we had to take them by voice vote
Yeah.
to get the approval.
Right, as
But
far as proving, as far as reading them.
but actually
looking
seeing
at
them,
it, if you're over here, you're not actually seeing them.
and to copy all of this and send it out for each committee is,
I think,
because a lot of them are pretty,
even though the state
standard.
says you only need one, I think we need two.
Yeah, that's the way it's been. I mean, myself and or others have done their best to.
and that's not to
Two-
say that they won't
Two eyes on.
change anything. And that could be for some of theirs, but it may or may not, I think a lot of people are seeing a difference with this. So I still think that one's out in the air. Kathy's, we need to be here. I definitely see the benefit, of being here. I miss it when not, you just, I
Well,
feel like a voyeur rather than a participant.
and are you talking then after COVID?
Mhm.
Well, then someone has to be present to do the Zoom stuff too, so that's the
Right.
person is.
Right, so I mean, those are the things that, but I'm just thinking that there's gonna be a little more pressure and whether the state is gonna relent on that or not. I don't know, that columnist, Rich Miller, does Capital Report and Capital, he does political column for like 30 years. And his comment, people, he'd been asked before, if it worked, if he ever thought he could do his job remotely, because he said you meet people as you're going into committees, coming out of committees, you might see them in a restaurant and always and could talk. And he said, well, I think I got by and just made more phone calls, but he said, just didn't have the name with the face. And he said he really thinks the state has lost a lot in not having them physically present for their meetings at the state. So I just thought that was interesting coming from his 30 years of experience.
I feel in-person meetings are much more important.
Oh, right. So,
Same, no different, but
but,
I'm discouraged by the fact that the state is starting to go as much on the mail and voting. As it was too.
Well.
I understand why, but
well, they're getting pressure too because some other states have done.
I don't agree with it.
Okay, well, so I don't know.
But that's
if
my
that's-
opinion.
I don't know if that's gonna be a local decision. We have a few, we know we need to change a couple things. Did we? Okay, I'm just trying to go. So as we're going through, I'm just kind of hitting highlights some of the things we'll get drafted. We're gonna, one of the things, so this came up when we changed our rules during zoning meetings when we started having the wind turbine issues come up, so people wanted to talk, and then, so we said that they needed to fill out the form, that made it easier than everybody had to fill out the thing. Typically, but if it's on the agenda, you get 10 minutes, if it's not on the agenda, you have 5, and we're still good with that. But, they used to have to give an address, and they don't, because we were trying to, if there were people coming in from a county, from a big distance, and acting like they were local to try to get testimony, so unless they're listed as an expert or listed. But we cannot require an address or phone number from anybody that wants to address the board. So that needs to be changed in ours. We asked their names for sure. And I would still like to see the town, but we do need to change that on our form for these hearings, but now that they're doing it remote, right now it's not gonna be an issue, I don't think. And a couple of them are just a few words. Okay, so, and a couple things, just what the board chairman can do, and there are just a couple things that we need to just, I think we have an appointment, I think that might have to do resolutions. I was gonna double check that, but, so if you want to appoint a new committee or set people to it, you might do that.
Resolution was to move.
To
a
establish
person
a new
from-
committee or
Move one person to
no.
another committee. Or-
In any situation where the board chair deems it advisable to appoint an additional member to any standing committee, he or she may do so. Why did I think? I think that was the question mark, but even if you did put, establish a new standing committee, I'm not sure if that means it.
Well, I would think so there
Resolution,
because
but
that's
that's
changing
what I-
board rules.
Right, so we need to go back and look at that. I'm just trying to review and catch this
But
up
I
a
think
little bit.
anytime you would have to modify whatever Bob's looking at in that book there.
We do.
Board rules.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're doing. I just haven't written
Right,
out
I
a
know.
copy of it.
You were saying it involved a resolution to appoint
But that's what, it says we don't. I think the question has come up, and that I was gonna double check it at the state, if it should be a new committee. Not to move a person, that is totally at the start of the year, I'm talking.
Right.
And then a couple of things that the committees are supposed to be doing. So one of the things that I know we used to do with the appropriations and the budget recommendation of the finance committee. So that used to come through the committee that they represented. And now finance, the last several years have been dividing up each of their people and sending one of the finance members to meet with the department head before the budget hearing, so that they could either address some questions, totally understand what they were doing to speed up some of that budget process. So then, and just the way we don't get the financial reports at the committee that we used to have a printout every month of, this is their budget, this is what's spent, this is how it compares, this percent's been used, and this is what's left. And we're not getting that anymore, so, and just the way finance is doing it, but we need to change that in finance, if that's what we think how that should be done. And then take that off of the committee. So all our department heads, if they're going to be bringing something, a big change in their budgets, they come and tell us. And that's on them, so that's under the standing committees. So to me, that's one I think we need to look at and might take greater input. So we talked about it a little bit, and that's about where we got hung up before COVID. Oh, we had gone through in changing, the board chairman appoint the parliamentarian, but in the state rule, and I think I brought this up at one point. The state statute summary, page 11, although the chairman of the board is responsible for the conduct of all board meetings, the state's attorney or his designee, his or her designee, is considered and recognized as the parliamentarian for the county board, which I knew Charlie was here that one, but.
Still working on that appointee.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah, I mean, what happened was, when we did have a parliamentarian as a board member, if they get involved in the discussion, then they kind of lose track of the rules. And so it was difficult, so. That was the one we need to take out. And then if we're going to allow okay, we just talked about the resolution, if there's a new committee. Okay, just to follow up. So on the board, The board chair shall appoint board members to serve as a voting member or county board representative of the following boards and commissions. And I don't think that we had any issue with those. Those were standing there. Where I had the most questions was under the citizens appointments, which is 14, section 14, other appointments. So a couple, so the board of review, we just did that. CASA, and I have a letter from her here. When it was started, we did have, I thought there was a board member, but for years we have not, they've not asked for an appointment. And then when it went to the 3 counties that are together, it changed the makeup of their board and how it works. So their executive director was fine with us not making, because basically what they want the board members to do is fundraise. So I don't, so I mean, I do have that. I don't have a form, is an email sufficient? That'll count as a letter, do I need a formal letter?
For what, I'm sorry?
To, that we take this off, that the organization agrees that we do not have to make an appointment for them.
You talk about CASA.
CASA,
Yeah, that's fine.
if those email will be enough?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I need, because otherwise I'd ask her to do a formal letter. Okay, and then, so that one we can do. We need to change, and the Lee County Housing Authority, I think is that, I never understood why we had to do that one, but I mean, if we do, and it's just been reapproved by director as far as I know, so. They tell us who they want and we appoint, and that's how it is with the sanitary districts and the sheriff's merit commission, the fire districts, drainage districts, et cetera. So an extension council, again, that's another one that's also changed how it's organized, so I did talk to Derek. It's now 3 counties that are under one, where it used to be individual. And what, that we don't need, their laws from the state, they do not need a county board member to be on their board. What they need is more than one county board member to review their budget. And so, and which is basically what we used to, I mean, I remember doing it years ago. There were 2 or 3 of us that would go down and meet with, head, I forgot the title even, but anyway, and just go through their budget before it came to the finance committee. Well, they've been bringing their budget to finance. They now have their own levy, which the county board still can control, but it does. But according to them, they have to have, her budget that goes to the state that has to have signatures from people on the county board. So I think that's fine if they, if we spell out and go to finance and change what their responsibilities are, I think that would cover that there. So if that makes sense. So I know I'm just kind of giving you a glib thing right now, so food for thought. And that one I will need to go to finance, but I can't see having these appointments in our jobs when we're not making these appointments. Doesn't. So the zoning board. Did we? I have no notes here, so I'm wondering if I think we must have, I think we were okay with that, right?
Yes.
Because I don't have any marks there.
Well, memory should be right, we never got that far either.
Did we skip it? I have some at the end for the compensation, but that might have been after the fact, so. Oh, what are we doing for time? 10:40, so tell me.
Standing committees, from what I read on the state, is that you have to do that by resolution to create another standing committee.
But it can be an ad hoc, and I don't think that's where
Big
he's coming from, but
big
that's what I
difference
wondered, we
between
should
ad hoc
have
and
that as a
standing
resolution too. That's what I questioned.
It says here that he can,
Those are our rules,
yes,
right,
right.
and that's what I'm questioning,
He can
is we,
appoint an ad hoc committee.
without, yeah.
without-
Is that, do we want that, or do we
without
want that
resolution.
chairman to have a resolution? That's my question.
But wasn't that Kathy's?
But I guess it says he can just.
This is what we can change.
Yes, that's right.
That's what I'm saying. Do we want,
Do you want to do it by resolution?
and that's something that. I know,
Usually an ad hoc committee is
That's
only
here or
good
there.
for a couple of months.
that's the point, but I agree, I'm just saying is that we're going through these. I'm not saying that I agree or disagree, I'm just saying that I think this is something that, these are the things that we should be looking at. And we make some recommendations and then what our proposal then goes and we can do more.
I think just keep it simple, we've always functioned well.
Okay.
The way it's been
All
done.
right, so you don't want to make any changes.
And I think if you get into too many legalities, with resolutions here, resolutions there.
Well, what I've learned through my years here is the plus side of resolutions is then there's the record. To go back to the minutes, so if, then somebody's gonna say, wasn't there a committee, what did they do, blah, 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 then somebody in Kathy's office has, or the clerk's office has to go find that. If there's a resolution, it's much easier for them to find it.
I mean,
That's the reason.
we created an ad hoc
Yes,
committee for the jail,
right.
but we never did it with resolution.
No, we didn't, because we didn't have to. But,
That might have been a good idea to do it by resolution, because we also get that ad hoc committee
A lot of power.
a lot of power to do things that normally should have fell
Two
upon,
committees.
and, yeah, executive and finance. So I don't, in that case, I agree with you. Resolution would clarify what all can be done.
And who was on it.
Right.
And what they could do. Because it was $19 million spent by those two committees, one to plan their building and one to finance the building. I don't have a problem, Judy.
I'm just bringing it up because I just know that when people have gone down and wanted Kathy to find something in some
Right.
minutes and they don't know what or when, they just know, did this happen and what was the intent on it? And speak of the devil. Oh, not the devil, the saint, sorry.
And I,
Senator Kerry.
and I just thought about that with the jail, that's exactly what we did, and that went out of whack in a lot of ways.
So,
And a resolution would clarify what is and what is not.
but like I said, that makes it a lot easier for you, and we talked about it because it was like, oh, I remember this, but then you have to go back and find it. And if there's a resolution, then it's the number and what it regards. And we have to be careful how we name some of these resolutions too, because we have a lot of issues with that. But, that makes it easier to track it historically. So
I agree.
that's why
I didn't want to take that function away from the county board chairman, but
it doesn't, it's only approving the
Right.
actions of the chair.
There's a multitude of them in there that say it's a county board chairman's responsibility with the consent of the board.
Which we
Same
gave,
situation.
which at the time, we gave that consent, but then it's just in the minutes. But if it's to have to go back and find that is much easier if there's a resolution.
Correct. Your resolutions are indexed.
If that's the word I didn't use, I said
Yes.
they were
Let
listed.
everybody know.
Index, yeah. So I mean, that's my point that I've been trying to bring up. Okay, that, I would, my head turns one way easier than it does the other. But I was either waiting for it in my ear or to give you a look.
I think you're doing great. I think it's a good idea to have the resolution, that way there's an expectation and it's easier to track. I think another good thing to have on there is to have a committee that it would be reporting to. If it's gonna be some kind of subcommittee or something like that, that way it's clear what it is that they're doing, if they're getting approval from you, whether it be finance, based on the jail, what's going on there. or what.
One of the committees that has changed is the insurance committee. That's not necessarily the way it was set up. It is and it is. The membership, I think, is.
Finance
It
committee
needs
had
to
large
be looked-
input
I mean,
into the finances of the jail, and properties had a large input into the property portion of the jail. So there was accountability there, just maybe wasn't in as much writing as it could have been.
Yeah, you just wanna have to take care of that.
So that was actually, we had made that recommendation for the ad hoc just under that rather than on the board. It's, I have it listed in one place, so I need to change it in the other. So we were at the zoning board, I really should get Dee's input there, but I think that's worked pretty well with the ZBA making the recommendations, the county board, and the use, et cetera. The ZBA has the right, the members are listed there, the chair. They have 2 alternate, I mean, that's all spelled out here. They have their chairman, who is named by the county board chair, and I don't know that change, usually once there's a chairman, that it stays no matter if the county board chair changes. So, and the planning commission, we haven't had a lot of subdivisions come in or anything, so that's, I didn't see anything on that, but it could happen. So I'm gonna have Dee review that, just 'cause she has a different, and I did not specifically talk to her about that. So then, we were up to compensation, and that was where our rate of $60, that's section 15. Page 70, I think it is. So it says we're eligible for compensation only when duly assigned to attend meetings and when in attendance for more than 2/3 of the meeting. That's so far very good. And then Paul, she just kind of walked back out again, but Paul brought it to our attention. Oh, you're there, that on the board chair compensation, we used to have it, that it was 4,000 and then 2,000 for expenses. But she said that, if you're doing that, it needs to be reimbursed and not taxed, so that I think the recommendation was that go to just make it 6,000, as it, you don't have as much to allow. Yeah, so, because otherwise it messes up in, 1099.
I don't know about others, but I'm in it for the money.
I knew you were, I knew you were. Ditto me, you know,
It's like that $60.
well,
It's
I spent days
it's a
on stuff
community service.
that I did from home, there's no compensation for that. I've got. So, but then it is broken, his salary is broken out monthly. Okay,
Good to see what I'm.
and our mileage, it still says, that we changed it quite a while ago, but it still says in the book that our mileage is based as a resolution during the year. But, so we paid a mileage, we set it as policy a while ago that it would be the IRS rate for the calendar year. That's what it is. But that isn't, but we just need to change it.
You just need to change the word.
Right. So that the practice is the same. So, the claims paid in vacation, I don't think that's state statute. And we have the authority to reject a claim. That people can defend it, or sometimes it's just because they need more documentation. And then could be an appeal for a reject. And if we need to, I like a diagram, it does not show up well here, it shows up better in our little book. But I think we're okay there. So, we've been through this, we have that. I just really did put it aside over the last few months, just put everything out. So if I get this typed up, we go through it. You guys have it once more. I have a brand new replacement printer. That,
Judy, could I just take you back to E a minute on the paid on vacation part? That last sentence, I agree with the first part where it says said claims shall be authorized and signed by the board chair or the finance chair. I think we could end it there, only because that paid on vacation sheet is reviewed every month, where this one says that it goes quarterly to the
Okay.
board, and it doesn't. Executive sees that every month.
okay,
So we could just
that's true.
put a period behind finance chair and end it there.
That's fine. I don't. Can I, every since you're here, I think about it, I'm kind of putting you in the spot, and I don't necessarily expect you to answer. So the county board, and I know we've done it, so that's for Lee County Housing Authority. Is
Yes,
there a reason that the county does that?
yes, it's in the housing authority
The
statute.
statute, okay.
Yes,
That's
and
what I
just
was
for the
double checking.
record, my husband retired a year ago.
Yeah,
So
I knew-
he retired in 2018.
I knew he had
So,
the job, that's why I thought you would know, and I was
Yeah.
gonna ask.
But
I
no,
didn't
it
know
is
he
in their
retired.
statute that it has to be
By
appointed by
this,
the county
okay.
board chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And see, and that's where when I talked with the extension, because we need to just revise how this is set.
Yeah.
Because we don't make it important to the board, we just need they just need people to review it. So, I wanna move that responsibility to finance committee.
Okay.
If, they're gonna go through it, but it's be in a draft.
And as a general rule, they always, as do most of these, they do their own resolutions and send them to us for the
Right,
county board.
right.
approval.
Right.
So,
But the ones that we have not been doing is what I talked about, and I have
okay.
permission from Kath, the extension one just needs to be changed and Castle we can take off. Okay, so, and I have a, Charlie said the email was fine.
There's a part there on plan commission.
Yes,
The board chair with the advice and consent of the board shall appoint the chair of the planning commission. Never been done.
it has, it's just never changed when it switches from,
Well, it keeps been there forever.
well, no, he
Well,
hasn't been
not
there,
forever.
it's changed. But when there's time for a change is when the board chair, the chair has done it. The new chair just doesn't.
New
No,
chair
automatically
never
changes.
changes.
Yeah.
Just keeps getting reappointed.
Well,
It stays there, I believe, until there's a vacancy.
Well, I'm sure it's being taken care of some way.
Are you on the planning commission? No,
I just never have,
I want.
Well-
that's the chairman of.
but we've never, that's not one, the other thing would be that they would vote them among themselves, and
That's
we've
what I
never.
would think would be natural, yes.
It was written originally as the county board with the advice and consent of the county board chair with the advice and consent of the board.
Well, it says in here, the board chair with the advice and consent of the board shall appoint the chair of the planning commission.
And I think that corresponds with what's in the planning commission documents.
And I think, the only thing I could think we could take out is the advice part, that's, because we do confirm it, and usually everybody knows in a zoning, you want your chairman to be someone that is familiar with, not just, well, you've got the whitest hair, I think your glasses are stronger than mine, I mean, some kind of expertise, leadership that should be recognized. And if the chairman doesn't want it anymore, they can quit or resign or ask that somebody else take the chair. So, because Bruce is back as chairman. He was chairman when I was there. And then he left for several years while he was gone, and then when there was a vacancy, he came back on. So,
It's being handled.
but, I don't know, the advice part is the part the board does not do. But they've been asked for recommendations. Certain, like I've been asked when they needed somebody over in our area, was asked to try to find somebody. Or not ask them specifically to do it, but try to get some names. So if that's advice, it's kind of a gray area.
It's actually how it's written in the state statute.
Okay, that's what so we're good. All right, so then, I will, you would have thought I would have had more of this done.
I think those are good, yeah, if you want to go ahead and type them up as a draft and give them.
Right, well, I mean, because if we're gonna change them, these do need to go out. And the idea was, when we started this, that we would get this much done, not to say that it can't be changed again, but if the board size does or doesn't change, whatever, that get this updated and then it'll help on the thought process for that decision. But it's just,
Have you got all that typed up already, and saved?
it's not the first time I've done it.
Yeah.
way back under Don Trent.
I can scan it, OCR it, and send you the document, and then all you gotta do is make your change.
Or can you do it out of this?
No, I'll do it out of
She's the
this.
chair.
All right.
Thank you.
Wait, okay, or it's in your, actually, it's in your own
No,
book. You have this.
very pro.
Don't we have it as a Word document?
Well, but I don't know if I put in all the changes that.
No, I'm going to, well, I need to do that because I don't have. Because I was gonna do it and then go, you said it's already a Word document?
It's a Word or it's saved as a PDF because I printed it out for Danielle.
Well, I'll
So,
put it in a Word document so that we can edit it.
do you want me to send it,
Yeah, she said she hasn't.
do you want me to send you what I have?
Oh, well, send me what you have, and I
Okay.
don't have everything that you have.
But I don't have all this,
Okay.
some of this is my shorthand.
Okay,
I'll send it to you, Bob.
send what you have to us, so then she
Okay,
should send it as a Word document.
Okay.
As a Word?
Ah.
Okay, so I can
Not-
just
not
take it
PDF.
as a, so I can convert it from a PDF to a Word.
To a Word, you can do that.
Okay.
You can go into Word and open up the
So
PDF,
if that's okay with everybody, does anyone have
Save it as a
anything
Word.
else?
and save it as a Word.
Will do.
You have
Okay,
no,
so
call me
I
our
will do
next
that.
meeting is
next month.
6. Monday, July 6th, at 9 a.m. Okay. Just the way that,
Yes.
Was there a motion to adjourn?
we're just talking about that,
Oh, she's just talking about the date. I thought I missed
yeah,
something.
the date,
Next
so,
week, July 6th.
Anyway. Is there, so a motion to adjourn?
Jim.
Horstman.
Who was the second?
See you. Thanks, Mr. Palin.
Who was second, Judy?
Is that Danielle on our
We'll
committee
need
now?
one for
For
that.
adjournment.
Who left?
Nobody.
Good.
Oh, we just,
Additional.
we get an extra person.
Whitman's absent,
Are we done?
Okay.
and he added my room
That means she's
to,
gonna be permanent on our committee.
until the end
Well,
of the year.
Because we
Which
lost
means we
Jim
have 6
Wetling.
members now, 4 is 4,
Most-
which does matter.
Most of the other committees have 6 now.
Okay.
Forensic was added to.
Well,
She's also been put on properties.
Okay, very nice to meet you. Yes.